My name is Smokey Wister, and I will be talking about Abelardo Morell. This is a quote from Paul Martino, the curator of the exhibitions and the associate curator of photographs at the Getty Museum. This really sums up Morell's photographical career so far, because he takes photos of what he's curious about, and he puts them in the way that his curiosity sees them. Also, his love for the medium can be seen in the way he brings back older techniques from photography's past. He was born in Havana, Cuba in 1948. His father was a sergeant in the Navy. They had to leave Cuba in 1962 due to the revolution and Castro. He got a scholarship for Bowdoin College, dropped out in his senior year, but soon realized his love for photography and returned to finish his undergraduate degree and went to Yale to get a Master of Fine Arts degree. He also has an honorary degree from Bowdoin. He met his wife at the school, and they got married in 1982 and now have 2 children. In 1969, at Bowdoin, he was in a photography class, and this made him realize that he really should commit to photography as a job. During college, he would visit MoMA a lot, especially for the exhibitions that were put together by Zarkowski. He would read photography books that focused on Diana Arbus, Henry Cartier-Bresson, and Robert Frank. At Yale, different photographers would visit to help the students and challenge them. About 2 years after Yale, Morell became a teacher at Massachusetts College of Art and Design. In 1986, he started to take large format pictures around his house. His career really took off in the 90s. He's been photographing since, and he does different series that include the camera obscura, a tent camera, stop motion studies, and even more older techniques. He does have a modernist approach to his photographs, but during college he drew on surrealism. He has 2 films, one called Room with a View, and the other is called Shadow of the House. And he has won 6 awards, the latest being the Infinity Award in Art. This is part of the earliest series that he has, and it's called Childhood, and it is to show the perspective of young infants, and this is also when his one son was born, and the role between fatherhood and his photography really became intertwined, and it made his photos more emotional. This is also part of that series, and you can see his use of low angles to get that sense of a toddler's view. This also makes the subject a little more enormous than it is. With this series, this is when he started to experiment with the camera obscura, and it started with a lesson for his class, and he turned the classroom into a giant camera obscura. He then went home and did the same thing but with the different rooms. To do this, he covers all the windows with black plastic and waits for the image to become focused, and he then uses another camera to take a photo of what has been produced on the wall. This can either take hours or minutes. He soon decided to go to different places and do this, and he does them at museums, as you can see in this one, and in hotel rooms of different where different landscapes are at and monuments are at. Also, he'll do them in under construction rooms to give it a better texture. He loved the idea of the outside world being on different textures, so him and his assistant created a light-proof tent with a periscope lens on top in 2010. This is also when he started to use color photography in his work, and he went to Yosemite and followed Carlton Watkins' path, and it was to show that the landscapes weren't immaculate anymore. With this series, he really loved the way that the light would hit the books and distort the images in them. this also inspired him to do more and put books in an innovative outlook. With this one, you can see that it's actually two books put together to create a scene. With the Alice in Wonderland series, he believed that the book on the outside should show the landscape and the world of the story on the inside. And to do this, he would use little paper cutouts of the characters and little ceramics and even books themselves to create the different scenes, and he believed that this helped tell the story of Alice in Wonderland. With the theater series, he really wanted to show the relationship between the two-dimensional world that photography makes and the two-dimensional fictional world that theater creates. And with this one, you can't tell at first glance that it's a prop for a theater. Not only did he use the camera obscura, but he also used photograms, but not in the traditional way. He would take 8x10 film and put either water or salt on them, and he would sometimes scratch or cut the film itself, and this gives the photo more depth and volume, and these are usually a little more abstract than what he does. With this little series, he was using cliché verres, and it's a French word meaning glass picture, and back then they would use glass and cover it with soot and then draw into it, but what he is using is ink, and he'll let it dry a little bit, and then he'll press plants or ferns like this one into it to create an imprint of the plant, and he loves this because it creates a kind of chaos that he likes. With the money series, he really wanted to show money for what it really is, which is paper and metal, and also a kind of sort of plaything. And this comes from his childhood in Cuba, where the currency changed overnight to almost, as he says, a replica of Monopoly money. But with this series, you can really tell it's straight, it's deadpan, and it's actually kind of boring. This is one of the most interesting ones I find, or that I like from his book series, and I love the way that the lighting creates a good contrast between the black and white, but it also brings out the gray tones in the book, and it's really interesting with how the damaged book and the waves of the pages. The significance of Morell's work is that he challenges normal photography, especially when it comes to using color. He's just recently started using color. He also has brought back older techniques, and this is very unique in its own way, but he puts a twist on it so that it's not the traditional or old-fashioned way that it was used. Thank you.